Newcastle. He secured the win. He was outstanding.
Just watch his red balloon come off.
He got them out of some trouble. They were down 14-6 deep into the game against Newcastle to finally win that one 18-14. We're underway on Toyota Monday Night Football. Kerrod Holland, the replacement for Chase Stanley, supplying the kickoff, playing at right centre tonight after his heroics against the Panthers. He kicked the winning goal after the bell back in round 2 up there at Penrith. Here is Finucane. Big step, and Michael Leisure tumbling over. He's okay. Put his hand up and said, yes, I'm okay. It was a collision, I think, with a teammate. It might have been Tony Williams as Finucane came pouring out of his own end. And now Smith kicking from inside the 40. Begins it with a big kick for Melbourne. They'll go on the attack.
What a great play from the Australian captain. Judged it perfectly, just inside the 40. Advantage the Melbourne Storm with Finucane coming close to the try line.
He'll play it a couple of metres out. Smith going wide immediately for Cronk. There is Proctor. He offloads it in the tackle. It comes away on this right-hand side to Munster. Van Hampton playing in the centres tonight for Melbourne on this left-hand side. Munster will float from side to side. The ball stripped out by Aidan Tolman.
Two in there.
Well, Tolman claiming he really didn't try to strip the ball. His hand was just around the footy when he made the tackle. That is the great grey area, that, with the stripping rule. You just got to go with the referee interpretation, and Cameron Smith decides to take the 2.
Well, you figure it will be a low-scoring game, but is this ultra-conservative?
Well, he's just kicked a 40-20. They're under. I know they didn't get many tackles into that set before the penalty was blown. Maybe they would have liked to have just moved the Dogs' defence around a bit more. There's the 40-20, and that's Cameron Smith's second of the season. He worked on that before the game. I saw him kicking a couple of 40-20s from a play-the-ball situation. He's kicked 2. Andrew McCulloch's kicked 2. Josh Hodgson's kicked a couple. The hookers lead the 40-20 tally.
From beside the uprights, it's a certain 2 points for Cameron Smith and the Melbourne Storm. They'll take the 2. We'll almost begin the game again. One chance, a very brief chance inside the Bulldogs 20. Take the 2 on offer. And we'll see if they can work it away as effectively this next set of 6 as they did before Smith supplied the 40-20. Holland again with the restart. Quite as deep this time. Coming forward, Cronk at the 10. Give it off to McLean, and he'll play it just inside the Storm 20. Finucane supplied a very good run, and here he is once again going towards Williams, and Leisure also once again.
He runs at a very good angle, Finucane, just angles his body forward, which cuts down the target. Actually, that was a good tackle from Moses and by on Kevin Proctor.
Bromwich losing his footing as he comes towards Graham. He'll play at 5 on his own side of halfway. Smith for Green. Goes to Harris, still wearing the number 4 jumper. He split his time between the back row and the centres. He's in the back row again tonight with Hampton out here in 17 playing beside Corabetti. Good catch made by Will Hopewadi. Leads their try scorers list with 5 in 5 games. He scored 1 try in every game to begin this new season as Leisure from dummy half goes to Greg Eastwood. Fairly quiet game by his standards last week, as did Tony Williams. Williams ran at just 27 metres. There is Graham working it forward. Eastwood just the 54 metres. Plenty of minutes last week as well. I'm sure we'll see a response from both those 2 men tonight. Here is one of them, Williams, bringing it back to the halfway line. Proctor will turn him onto his back as Leisure goes back to By. He'll kick it towards that corner, taken on the full by young Tonomapia. He'll bring it out, a little step at the line, stopped there by Jackson, Leisure, and also Graham. Here's Corabetti coming in for a carry. He lights the crowd up. Crowd still building. We kick off here at 7 o'clock in Melbourne as Munster brings it almost back to the halfway line. Smith will come down the short side. Here is Hampton. He was slated to play more minutes as a backup potentially for Cameron Smith times in 2017. In the centres though tonight full time. The kick from Chambers. Cronk coming through was onside. And Hopewadi comes up with it for the Bulldogs.
Well, he just put it in too heavy there, Will Chambers. The space was just in behind the defensive line. He had brought the winger up, did his job, and it's a kick that Jamie Lyon is famous for. But it just needed to be behind the defensive line. It was too heavy, and Will Hopewadi was able to clean it up. Cameron Munster was a bit groggy after that contact.
Everyone up.
Now a mistake by Sam Perrott. The Bulldogs weren't happy about it, and will put them under huge pressure once again here.
Couple of sets there, Dooners. How's that 10, mate?
The question from Jared Maxwell. Just asking the officials, I guess, supervisor tonight.
Cheers.
How the 10 is going so far.
Give us a step, boys. Give us
Des Hasler and Craig Bellamy make of it.
What's in, Cameron?
Josh, just one step back. Thanks, mate.
Go on, let's get on with it. 8 seconds. Shot clock off. Out.
The back of the scrum. Here's Smith. Chambers. Stopped there in a solid tackle by Josh Morris. Morris said he didn't have his best game last week. Put a couple of balls down and put them under pressure. Missed a few tackles as well, he said. He's out to make amends tonight. Smith. Mr. Bromwich charging hard. Leisha was there, so was Greg Eastwood. There'll be a quick play, the ball. Smith scurrying to dummy half. McLean, Cronk, showing it to Harris. They weren't falling for a dummy, though. Good tackle by Reynolds and also Jackson. They've used 4. Out Green. Underneath Finucane, looking out the back, trying to get it away, and he does. Bromwich will take some stopping. Williams did well with some help from Tolman. Last play, Green, grubbering, played it. Good work by Moses and By. He can really scoot. Cooper Cronk can run also, but look at him By go. He's going to go all the way.
You can award that.
Yeah, against the run of play, a hands-up piece of play by the Bulldogs halfback to run 90 metres to score.
It was a great defensive play by Mbai. He stuck his foot out and played at the ball purposefully. He got the bounce and then had the speed. Just watch Green, just tries to squeeze it through that gap between Mbai and Tony Williams. But Mbai was up on him. Cooper Cronk showed in a game recently that he hasn't lost his pace, and he was able to stay with Mbai, but he was never really going to catch him with Mbai getting a head start. Just look how clever that was. Timed it perfectly. The bounce was kind to him. And Melbourne were building something there, but Mbai has snatched it away from them.
Well, he might well be the quickest halfback in the competition. He's in the Olympic final if he's not, and he showed it right there. Cronk can run. We know Luke Brooks from the Tigers is quick across the ground as well, but I think Mbai probably has most of them covered. Given a head start, it was going to be hard to pick up. Herod Holland kicked 2 goals in that win, and as we mentioned off the kickoff, the one that got them the 18-16 victory after the bell there at Pepper Stadium against the Panthers in round 2. He said afterwards, I was always going to kick it. He was a good striker of the ball, and just to emphasise the point, that was arrow straight from the sideline.
Great strike, wasn't it? He showed terrific confidence on the night at Pepper Stadium. He wanted to kick. He knew he'd kick it. Back in the side after Chase Stanley's, shattering hamstring injury last week. We saw scenes of Chase Stanley in the sheds at half-time when he was ruled out of the game. But Kerrod Holland gets another chance.
So he was disappointed to move back into the New South Wales Cup ranks after that effort against Penrith. But Des Hasler said it's not because he didn't play well, just that Chase Stanley has the job when he's fit. That might be a hamstring strain that keeps Stanley out of action for a few weeks to come. So Holland might be around for a little while yet. Definitely against the run of play there, Danny, but you make your own luck, don't you?
Yeah, the positive response, I guess, would be the message from the Melbourne staff, because they were all over him. The ruck speed was really slow for the Dogs and really quick for the Storm. So perfect start for the Storm. So that was really against the run of play.
Bulldogs work it away.
Jesse off the arm.
Sam Perrott in their own 20. They give Melbourne the ball. The chance at the line. What happened from there as Leisha waits at dummy half. It comes across to Graham. Back to the halfway line almost. There, spun around by Smith and Harris. They'll slow down the play of the ball wherever they can legally. Reynolds kicking. Returns 27. And Wednesday, Josh Reynolds. The birthday present he's trying not to think about is the Origin jumper. 2015 rather.
We haven't seen anyone really lose their footing yet, but a change of angle could cause a lot of problems. That field down there is ice skate slippery.
You're down there checking it out. QBE super screen before the game. Now Smith. To Green will just work it down the short side. They'll have one more play here. About 33 out from the Dogs line. Cronk putting it high in the air. Riley standing underneath it. No problem for him there. They'll bounce off Munster, but Finucane is there along with Harris. And they'll work it away again from inside their own 20. Handling for both these sides hasn't been an issue through the first 5 weeks, despite their attack faltering. Bulldogs ranked 9th in attack. The Storm 10th through the opening month and a bit. But they're second and third as far as completion rate, so they've been getting through their sets okay. Eastwood the player, 10 on his own side of halfway. One more here. Comes out to Reynolds, kicking into the back of Cameron Smith. We'll see if they really played at it. No, he didn't, they say. And that's going to be the changeover. Always a contentious one. Going towards the man kicking the ball. At the last moment, you turn away from him. Are you playing at it or not?
Yeah, of course you are. You've come forward. You've come forward on the attacker. The fact that you are advancing towards the man with the ball, you are playing at the ball. Even if you turn your back to protect yourself, it's a chance here.
Young Tonamapea going towards Josh Morris. He went past him as well. Tackled again by Morris, only a couple of metres out. It'll be a penalty.
Second effort. Cameron.
The Bulldogs had their full complement of defenders back on the line. It wasn't going to be a professional foul, and Morris in the sin bin after they had Josh Jackson go to the bin last week for just that situation against the Raiders at Belmore. It was a nice move. Tonamapea to get past Josh Morris. Not exactly the confidence builder Morris was looking for after, as he said, having an admittedly below par game last week. Here's Bromwich, McLean, running towards Eastwood and also Gray. Smith from dummy half. Plenty of numbers on this left-hand side for Melbourne. Corabetti is there. Good tackle by Perrott. And he's forced a mistake as well. Strong tackle, one-on-one, with one of the hardest men to bring down in the NRL.
Well, he just ran straight over. That's what he had in mind, running straight over the top of Sam Perrott, who went down low, fell back with the tackle as he was moving backwards, and then it was the effort of Kerrod Holland over the top that actually forced the ball free. And young Tonamapea came awfully close. Second man play from Munster, who provided Tonamapea with a bit of space, and there's young Tonamapea just getting on the inside of Josh Morris. But he comes again, Morris, to his credit, to get him around the legs. They're winning 6-2, the Bulldogs, but they've spent all the game down this end of the field. They haven't had to play the ball in Melbourne's half,
which is remarkable. Melbourne have had 60% possession through this opening almost quarter of an hour. You can see those tackles in the opposing half. 16 blot the moment. By will play it here for Leisha. Back to Tom, as we think of that slippery surface you were talking about, Brandy. We've seen a couple of players lose their footing off the ball in the last few sets, and by kicking, it'll go down to Munster. Tonamapia wrapping around the back of him. Will pick up with Colin Benny. In fact, will bypass him to give it to Hampton. They had some numbers back there, Melbourne. A planned move for clearing kick to get plenty of men back there on that left-hand side of the field. They picked up some good metres as a result. Corabetti now, then Hampton. Suddenly they're back 35 out from the Bulldogs line. Green showing it to Finucane. Going himself. Eastwood losing his footing slightly. People going to the right-hand side. Here's Proctor at the back. Munster over the top. The right idea. But the execution just wasn't there.
Well, it was a lovely ball from young Tonamapia on the other side of the field to Ben Hampton. From that kick return, Munster knew that he was in space, just couldn't get him the ball. Just lobbed it a little bit too hard. Couldn't throw a regular pass because of the defence coming at him. Just had to lollipop it over the top, and it was just too big.
10 seconds. Wait,
we saw the ball control, only a couple of errors. The Melbourne Storm, one for the Bulldogs. And the Bulldogs are fortunate that they've only made the one error, considering where the game is being played.
And they work it out of their own end. Will Chambers jamming in from right centre to put a shot there on Aidan Tolman. Those little vital in and away look for Tony Williams. But a legs tackle there from Finucane. Quick play the ball as a result. Finucane did well from marker. Morris diving out from dummy half and earned the penalty that he perhaps thought he was entitled to with the first effort. He taps it and goes. Now they've got a chance at this end of the field. Give them a handy lead if they can convert some pressure here. Graham at the 20. Come across to Reynolds out the back. Here's Honorati out the back again. Holland a chance. Corabetti read it beautifully. Came in to save the situation. Leisha, Eastwood, very flat there in the middle of the field. 4 plays gone. Only numbers around the middle as Tolman cuts back to the right-hand side. Jackson is pushing up in support. And By was out the back. Now on the last. Leisha goes to the halfback. He grubbers towards Tonamapia. Awkward bounce. He had no option. But just to wrap it up, the Dogs have earned themselves 6 more plays.
Well, they might have only had one set down this end of the field, but they've been able to come up with a result through a good kick from Moses and By. Awkward bounce for young Tonamapia just to get his hands to it. And then drag it in before Josh Morris arrived. Dangerous moment for the Melbourne Storm with that right side play.
Tom, run in, Melbourne.
They created the overlap, but Holland just couldn't get the ball to Sam Perrott, who was unmarked. Great defence from Corabetti to read it.
Cameron Smith taking plenty of time. The drop-out clock give his team a break. As Graham brings it back. Played here just outside the 30. Melbourne under repeat set pressure situation for the first time in the game. Leisha waiting for the play, the ball from Tolman. Flat again in the middle. Eastwood threatening will run around there with Josh Reynolds. Nothing doing. And they'll play it midway through this set. Here's Reynolds now. Goes to Holland. Well, not to lose the ball, but boy, ran into McLean, Munster, and also Harris. 10 away. Eastwood. Flat once more. Tolman and By. Chambers saw him. Came in quickly, just like Corabetti on the other side of the field. The flatness of the lineman, he was there to be had. Chambers got to him. Here's Reynolds, chipping it towards the corner. Over the head of Corabetti. Perrott up above the 3G and brings it down. And the Bulldogs are in again.
Just make sure. Last tackle here, Bernie. It's a try. He maintains possession. Just make sure it doesn't go into the Melbourne player prior to grounding.
Well, I don't think it did, but we'll have a look at the replay. And Josh Reynolds, 2 sets down this end of the field.
Kick chase on the right-hand side is onside.
They get a result from their first, force a line dropout, and then Reynolds puts in a great touch kick across the field. Perrott in behind Corabetti, who does a good job to get his arms wrapped around the ball, even though he's going backwards. Perrott never loses his grip on the football. Despite the weight...
We see Bulldogs take possession of the ball before Melbourne Storm touch the ball.
Despite the weight from Corabetti, which must have been hard for Perrott to keep it in
Camera 8 in the
grasp.
top right shows Bulldogs maintain possession and ground the ball. Have a decision and going to the board.
That's good. That's what we thought live, and the bunker have confirmed it.
Green lights for the Bulldogs, and Sam Perrott, who made that big tackle on Corabetti at the other end of the field to save a try, and then gets up above his opponent tonight in this corner off a lovely kick by Josh Reynolds.
We just tucked it in behind Corabetti, who was jammed in 8 or 9 metres. And the man that's going forward always has the advantage over the one going backwards. And Perrott snuck in behind him. Great composure from the Dogs, who have only now played 2 sets in the Melbourne Storm half. And as I said, they've come up with a result at the back end of both sets. Force a line dropout, then a try to jump to a 10-2 lead.
Now Kerrod Holland, 3 from 3 in his career. And another tremendous strike. He hits them like Danny Willett, the Masters champion, who struck them pretty well. I'm sure you watched that live this morning on Fox Sports from Augusta, Georgia. They're impressive so far, the Bulldogs, Danny.
Yeah, how good are wingers these days? They used to be a position for players that couldn't make your team, but now they're so important. Just 2 big plays from Sammy Perrott there with that one-on-one tackle and that fantastic take. So, yeah, such an important position in today's game.
Boys, stay behind.
They can even pass from dummy half these days, the wingers.
It's going to be tough to be a winger in 2016. The work required from your own end in situations like this. Here is James Graham getting rattled by Dale Finucane. To make a statement against his old team here tonight. It might be pertinent at this point in time to mention again the Bulldogs record. They're looking for 6 wins in a row against the Melbourne Storm here tonight. Storm, in fact, have gone to 16 of 36 in total against the Bulldogs. It's their worst record against any team in the NRL. And now Eastwood motoring across the halfway line as Leisha looks for Reynolds. Last tackle to put it up in the air again. More pressure here. Corabetti going up for it, making a good catch. Under an avalanche of blue and white jumpers, he'll play it there just outside his own 10. That was a big set, impressive set off the back of the try by Sam Perrott. Here's Hampton coming in for a carry. He's played in the halves in his time with Melbourne. Played fullback if required. And the centres. He'll be a backup hooker. Cameron Smith needed a rest. Hasn't happened so far this season. Now the captain kicks over the head of Will Hopewadi. Sits up for the Bulldogs fullback. Brings it back to be stopped there by Green and also Hampton. 22 gone. The Bulldogs 12-2 over the Melbourne Storm. It's not the biggest crowd you'll ever see here at Amy Park. They make some noise usually, but they are quiet at the moment. Here is Sam Cassiano. Pattern continues for Des Hasler. Cassiano coming on around about the 22-minute mark. We'll see if Hayden Tolman, who makes an error here, is due for a break, and off the back of that, it might come in this next set of 6.
Well, only their second error of the match too, but not a good place for it to happen. Right on halfway, the Storm a chance now in Bulldog territory early in the count.
Cassiano out there for Greg Eastwood. David Trimmer usually comes on around about this mark, not long after. Another one of the front rowers. It's Tolman's turn to get that breather tonight as Cronk has it here. 30 metres out from the Dogs line. Tim Glasby is out there for Jordan McLean as Craig Bellamy also goes to his bench. Good run by Bromwich. Pops a ball. Touched there by Sam Perrott. It should be 6 more tackles, and that's how it's ruled. Corabetti dancing across the face of them, straightening as he goes towards Cassiano and Leisha. A full set from close range. Melbourne trying to hit back. Smith going from dummy half. He thought Cassiano was offside. Now they do get the penalty.
And he was. He doesn't often get it wrong, Cameron Smith, and he was right to run at Sam, who was caught in no man's land after being involved in the tackle, just couldn't get back.
Hold it! Hold it! Hold!
Now Smith taps it. Cronk goes to Glasby. Strong tackle there by Leisha and Graham. Tolman coming in as well. Make sure he hits the deck. Smith for Cronk. Good hands up above his head. What a great ball there for Green. Still going is Blake Green. They'll take him into touch. Great defence by the Bulldogs. And on this greasy surface, and going sideways, and a sitting duck to be taken across the stripe.
You're not safe, even if you're 10 metres infield these days, especially on this surface down here in Melbourne. But Green throws the dummy. I guess it was 7 or 8 metres inside the field of play. By the time they got hold of him, they held him up. There's plenty of Bulldogs jumpers there early in the count, and they've wasted some opportunities at this end of the field, the Melbourne Storm.
They've had 14 plays inside the Bulldogs 20. The Dogs just 6 at the other end. They lead at 12-2.
And he was really forced to throw that dummy because the service from the inside just wasn't crisp enough. You come to think of Melbourne as almost machine-like with their execution. It certainly wasn't on that play, and that forced Green to throw the dummy because he couldn't give it to his outside man.
The pass from Smith was above the head of Cronk, and then his pass was out the back of Green. He goes to Mumbai. He'll take them on himself. Step off the left foot, right at Proctor and also Smith. He's got the speed and the size to split them as well. Now Jackson on the sweep. Goes to Collins. Here is Perrott trying to get away from Corabetti. Cleaned up there by Hampton. 30 metres out. Opawati up there pushing up in support. Wasn't expecting the ball. Now they go through Williams to Morris. He'll kick it away from Munster, who wants it to keep going, and it will.
Gee, the idea wasn't bad, was it? He thought he caught Cameron Munster, who was pushing across to the other side of the field. And if the weight of it was right, well, they get another result from it. Just too heavy from Josh Morris. Another very good
not over that again.
right side play from the Bulldogs. And it all started with Aidan Tolman in the middle. And as he went to the line, he looked inside before he found Josh Reynolds out the back. And just that moment of hesitation from the inside defence meant that they couldn't slide the Melbourne Storm, and it just dragged everyone in. And it was drawn past to put Sam Perrott into space.
Chambers comes in for a carry. They're back at the halfway line. Cronk looking to Proctor. He only had 3 line breaks in the entire 2015 season. Kevin Proctor playing a few more minutes as well this year. Hasn't been quite as effective without Billy Slater running those sweep plays out the back of him.
Let's see, it's been more than 12 months now since Proctor has been the focal point of their attack.
Green chipping off the point, comes back to Munster. They'll hold him up there.
Oh, how didn't he get the ball down there?
Munster. There you go.
With the weight of a player coming down after he takes that ball, and they've still got some tackles left.
Hold here, boys. Hold here.
Last play now.
Hold here. Yep. Hold. And go.
Smith goes across to Cronk. He'll chip it. Some pressure here on Morris and also Rona. Cassiano picks it up, pops it out.
Knock on Melbourne. Hand over out here.
I think he was pretty confident that Melbourne had knocked the ball on in the contest.
Yeah, here's the kick. Munster takes it. Try line is there. Perrott again, along with Will Hopewadi, but Sam Perrott, how impressive has he been defensively tonight?
Having a huge game. Here is David Clemmer. Speaking of huge, out there now. The pattern continues. James Graham staying on the field. Aidan Tolman is the front rower, getting a rest tonight, and has been each week. Graham will get the early shift, and then Tolman will stay on the next week. It's reversed, and gives Des Hasler the beauty of trying to limit how many minutes he asks of his two bookends.
He should have scored that, Cameron Munster. He should have been able to fight his way out of it. He should have been able to pull his arms down and get that ball across the line. We've spoken about a couple of wasted opportunities. That was 4 points blown.
Here is the man in question. At his own 20, playing it here for Tolman for a betting going towards Jackson. And also Clemmer. 29 gone. The Bulldogs, who have the wood on the Storm in recent seasons, leading by 10.
Warren, I had a chat with Craig Bellamy pre-game, getting his thoughts on the interchange trends of different sides. He identified the Bulldogs as perhaps the only side whose interchange is considerably larger physically than their run-on side. As a result, I was expecting some subtle changes to the way the Storm is playing, but I think that might come anyway, because what they're doing now isn't working.
I'll wait and see. Early days in this one. We know how Melbourne, so many times, especially on Monday nights here at this venue, come from behind to snatch a victory at the death. Nelson Asofa Solomona, they just keep getting bigger. Speaking of close replacements with the Bulldogs and Cassiano and Clemmer being big, Nelson Asofa Solomona out there now making that tackle on Morris. Got to be easily the tallest man in the NRL. Not saying something given this man playing the ball. He's 6'5" himself. Reynolds, his kick. Munster taking it on the gallop, coming towards Graham. He should make it all the way through the opening half. That's the back of you and I.
Lost legs.
That's how we look.
James.
Watching the game.
Mark is good.
Maybe we should see that shot a little bit more often. I quite like that.
The back of us.
Yes.
That's about right.
Chambers playing it here for Smith, and a galloping Asofa Solomona playing it here for the skipper. Glasby back in behind the play. The ball cut down there by Leacher, and a good tackle. Good line, chipping it again. Runner going back, will leave it for Hopewadi. Into his own winger, and they'll force him to work it away from the corner. The Dogs have done a pretty good job of doing that so far in this game.
Well, they've done it plenty of times and really come up with a couple of errors in slippery conditions. It's been impressive what they've had to contend with in the opening 15 minutes. Get themselves 2 tries. Melbourne Storm need something to happen here. Defensively, they need to force an error. Inside the final 10 minutes of this first half, as Reynolds turns Cassiano under, who passes back to Jackson, back to centre field through Clemmer.
Here is Clemmer to play it for Leisha. From inside his own 40. Munster letting it bounce. Sits up for him. Tied one once again. Is the referee. There's a bit of a shepherd there. He gets a couple of extra metres. It's Cassiano and Reynolds make the tackle. Smith. Corabetti Jackson coming out, was waiting for the winger. He had his number, led him pretty solidly, and then gets tangled up. Quicker. Gives away a penalty. That's a tough one after making a very good hit.
Yeah, you'd think you'd be given a little bit of leeway, because he did wrap his body completely around him. They got their legs tangled up, as we see, and he used a bit of leverage from his legs to flip him on his back. Slow motion does him no favours.
No, it doesn't, as Harris has it here, just outside the Bulldogs 20. Smith for Glasby, and towards Graham. Cassiano was also there. Alicia adding his weight to the tackle. Green on his left edge. Harris, good tackle. Kerrod Holland. Star in the New South Wales Cup last year, making a big tackle right there. Now for Nukin. Making his way to the line. We'll play it about a metre out. Two more plays left in this set for Smith. What a step! They want to check it and see if there was some interference around the play the ball.
No try.
Yes.
Check Kevin Proctor on the side.
All right, mate, on tackle 5. Got no try down here. Have a look at the decoy and the interference to the defensive line. Kevin Proctor.
He's very good at this, but it did seem to open up quite easily, and you always wonder what's happened on the inside. Well, I'm sick of talking about this. Now,
the Storm player initiates a contact on the outside shoulder of the Bulldogs defender. Have a decision and going to the board.
That makes it pretty simple. He makes contact with the outside shoulder of Tony Williams, who did his best to fall over and become involved with the contact.
Cameron Smith not talking to the referee there, but his own teammates having some quite forceful words to say. Tony Williams went down like he was shot. But the fact doesn't change that Proctor, going into the line as he did, wasn't going to give Williams 100% shot at getting to the man he was trying to get to. And really, that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's it. That's the end of the section. You're right.
Even if he'd stayed on his feet and tried to get the Cronk, his effort in doing so had been compromised, which is why that situation right there just has to be a penalty.
Okay, well, Kevin Proctor's just cost his side a try because Tony Williams wasn't getting the Cronk. That's what I think. So, and that's what the talk from Cameron Smith was. Get through that line without making contact.
I think you're 100% right. That was a real bake that he gave his team. They just cost themselves 4, if not 6 points by not getting the play right. Hopewadi goes to Cassiano. Graham out the back. The ball goes to ground. Cronk is there. Did he get a play on it? Yes, he did. Touched by Cooper Cronk. Morris plays it. That'll be the 0 tackle. Big chance here for the Bulldogs. 5 out from half-time to extend this 10-point lead. Charging at Harris and Green. He's back in behind the play the ball to open up a long left-hand side. They'll come down the short side. Reynolds was there, just running around the back of Jackson. The ball was in play. The Melbourne Storm
Back down here, Matty.
still fought. Jackson gets back to clean it up.
Well, the ball was thrown out in front of him, and he didn't really want to run onto the ball, Josh Reynolds. He wanted to play a little bit further back from the defensive line. And that's cost them the error. Tough one to take.
Time off, game clock, shot clock still going. I'll look for it, James.
Yeah, the twice is no good now.
Okay, mate. Shot clock still going, boys. Bend your backs. Shot clock off.
Hold it. Hold
The
it.
Storm got there to stop the game clock. Shot clock still running. You've got to be on your toes these days, don't you? Smith coming up into a sofa Solomona. There's talk that he might have been thinking about heading back to New Zealand to play rugby union in the Super 18 competition from the franchises in the Shaky Isles, but it looks as though his future is right here in Melbourne with the Storm for Nukin. Smith off an offload, giving it back to a sofa Solomona, running at Cassiano. What a meeting that is. Cassiano rips it out. It'll give Melbourne a chance to tap it quickly and go. That's what Cronk does. He'll give it to Munster, working in the middle of the field against Cassiano and Williams. There are some very large humans out there tonight. We'll play it at the 10, and now a penalty.
That's it.
On the advice of the pocket referee.
That's it. Boys.
Toward the tackle. Sam Cassiano is going to get called out.
Sam. He said he hasn't been here on here all that long. He's given 2 or 3 away really, really quickly. There's a team discipline thing with him. You get into him, James.
What was that one for? The pocket referee made the call. What did he actually call? And what was the penalty for against Cassiano?
They tap it and go. Here is Asofa Solomona. It's a bit of work over the head. Boy, it was a very tough one against Cassiano from what we saw right there. Here is Finucane. Cronk gives it to Harris. Spinning, trying to get to the line. He went very close. He thinks he scored. We'll need confirmation.
Well, he was in pretty good position there, Jared Maxwell, to rule on that one. If he thinks Tohu Harris has scored the try, he's trying to power over the top of Kerrod Holland. He's able to do so. And then gets the ball down just
Camera 5 shows that Storm maintained possession of the ball and get to the line.
Just before it comes free.
Camera 9 on the right-hand side shows the ball gets to the line. Have a decision going to the board.
Placed on the ground. Forcing the tackle, forced it loose after he had got it down. Okay. That's what they say in the bunker.
Well, he was able to keep it on his wrist. It was coming free from his hand, but kept it on his wrist. It never left either his wrist or his hand, and was able to slam it down. And that was a tough penalty against Cassiano. He shouldn't have done it in that position, but penalties now and an error marched the Storm up the field, and they're able to make the most of it for the first time tonight. They've had a number of chances that they've squandered. They get that one just before half-time. Cameron Smith, you would think, would be able to pilot this one through to make it a 12-8 ball game.
Well, they needed that, didn't they? 20 tackles inside the Bulldogs' 20. The Dogs just 6 at the other end of the field. And a 10-point lead should shrink to 4 right here as Smith adds the extra 2. Canterbury 12, Melbourne 8. On the stroke of half-time here at Amy Park. You get the feeling they needed that one, the Storm rather, Danny?
Yeah, there looks to be a bit of a change in the game plan, and behind the ruck and just at that A defender, that looks to be where Melbourne's going. So there might be a bit of joy in the next 2 minutes, minute and a half, as the Bulldogs big boys are a little bit more tired.
Cameron Munster waiting for the restart. Kickoff goes down to Cooper Cronk. He'll give it to Tim Glasby. I'll play it here. 90 seconds out from half-time. Smith. A shift in the middle of the field. Asofa Solomona. Good legs tackle there from Kerrod Holland. Some help from Graham, but also Leisha. Smith from dummy half saw Cassiano coming. He was going to pass for support on the right-hand side. Hung on to it. It's Cronk. Lost it backwards. About the surface at the beginning of the game. The ball getting a little bit slippery as well. Hunched over running style, similar to Dale Finucane. Cronk taking it to the line, giving it to Munster on the last play. Munster got it back to him, and then Cronk somehow slipped it to Will Chambers. There was some sleight of hand there. Kick goes down to Perrott. He looks for some space, and he'll play it at his own 20. With 30 seconds remaining.
Yeah, Cronk gave the impression he was going to kick the ball for Munster, but then passed it at the last moment. A couple of clever passes between both of them to keep things going before Chambers kicked the ball. Good contact there from Kevin Proctor.
They've lost the ball, the Bulldogs. Proctor has it. Maybe time for one play. Green kicks it. Corabetti up against Perrott. He had it. Corabetti coming quickly. A chance to pounce and score as the half-time siren sounded. What a heads-up piece of play by Blake Green. There he is. Perrott just getting a hand to it. Saving the day.
Twice they've done it.
Against his opposite number, 1 second.
Well, what is it then?
We'll chip him on the run for you, Dodge.
Right, well, if it's not a penalty, sir, every team would just do it every time.
Yeah, you're right.
You just kept the same play on.
We'll keep an eye on it
it's
for
a
you.
penalty because it's massive, sir.
Yeah.
It's massive.
I'll keep an eye on it for
It's
you.
for us.
Got through a mountain of work defensively. No Melbourne Storm player has made more tackles than Finucane.
40 minutes remaining in this one. It's the only meeting this season between the Bulldogs and the Storm.
Maybe on here.
And we're underway for the second half on Toyota Monday Night Football. The Bulldogs defending a 4-point lead. Comes to Cassiano. Bring it out beyond the Bulldogs 10. Stopped there by Chambers and also Proctor. Tony Williams has been well contained once again tonight after coming off a quiet effort last week against the Raiders. Leisha, what a great pass there from dummy half. Put Reynolds under all sorts of pressure. Cost them a play and some metres. And any momentum they had in the set, plenty now. As a result, they're set upon by Proctor. Kick out of the tackle. Get free and get something going. But here's play 5. Graham. Carries it towards Harris, Green, and also Asofa Solomon. Good runs on those last players. Got them out of trouble. As the kick from Mumbai will go down the middle of the park. Taken by Munster on the full. Sees a straight Bulldogs chase line as he comes back across his own 40. Tonamapia. Dummy half had Betty pushing up in support. Smith will find Tohu Harris. A bit of footwork at the line there, and he pokes his nose through it. Gets a quick play, the ball. Graham struggling as the only marker. Alicia left behind the play off the run. Tohu Harris, Proctor to play it. Smith, very front on the right-hand side they were all up almost expecting a kick there from the dummy half. They've got one more play just outside the Bulldogs 10. They scored just before the break. Here's Green out the back. Cronk, Corabetti, nothing doing. They'll head back midfield, kick it into James Graham, not played at. Smith just dobs one into the in-goal area. Hopewadi was there though, read it nicely. And Corabetti takes in the ground inside the Bulldogs 10.
Well, Andy said, Craig Bellamy said the Storm's attack was a bit messy in that first half, and not much had changed, really. Their first set with the ball in good field position, looked a little disjointed. Runners flat and then too far back. It had Corabetti running infield and kicking the ball on the last tackle. That wouldn't be part of the plan.
Now, it's good straight defensive line by the Bulldogs, and they will get an early penalty here. Holding down in the play the ball. Reynolds quickly kicks for line, and they'll have it inside the Storm 40. Just 6 tackles to this point of the game inside the Storm 20. There might be some more coming here if they can get through this set. Here's Mbai coming wide. Williams a chance to wind up. Fends away from Cronk. Almost gets away from Proctor. Smith only just hanging on. That's better from T-Rex. Leisha to the short side. Mbai hanging on to it. Smith not falling for a dummy. Neither was Proctor. But they're under pressure here, Melbourne. Dogs looking likely on that left edge. Clemmer going to Glasby, popping it out the back. Here's Cassiano towards Smith. At the death, getting a pass away. Leisha to Clemmer. Now Reynolds showing it, giving it to Holland. Good tackle again by Corabetti. He's read things nicely on that left side tonight defensively. Clemmer striding out, looking to get an arm free, and just about did as well. Finucane was desperately hanging on. Last play, Leisha, they came up very quickly. The kick from Reynolds, given to Corabetti as it turned out.
But gee, was a long way infield, Marika Corabetti. He was 2 in with Ben Hampton and Blake Green both on his outside, but Craig Bellamy be pretty thankful that it was Corabetti, because just about everything he's done tonight, he's done right. He's done well.
Blake Green was up there in the back line almost of the Bulldogs. Slow delivery from dummy half, but he took the chance to get up there and make it a hard play for them. Smith from dummy half. It's down towards the corner. It'll go to Hopewadi to try and bring it back, but he's stopped there by Green. So chances at either end. In this second half, nothing doing as yet. Perrott. Play it there for Holland. Goes to Graham for a quick play the ball, but three of them in the tackle. In a slow one as Reynolds to Jackson. Harris there to stop him. With the help of Green, play 5 as Leisha brings it back for Graham. Doing the ball, playing. Cassiano lost it. Cronk ended up with it. And then Sam, it's a good thing he missed him.
Josh, just stay there.
Nelson Asofa Solomona and Sam Cassiano want to argue the toss. Fancy being in the middle of that little dance.
Walking away. Curtis walking away. Will.
He was frustrated, Sam, at losing possession. And swung around.
Sam,
oh!
Go that way, mate.
He was lucky that Cronk was on his way down.
Take him out.
Thanks.
Take him out. Take him out. Hang on, Bernie. Take him out, boys.
Sofa Solomona didn't like it. And doing their best to just throw a little punch while they're hanging on to each other. But
got to be 250 kilograms in that confrontation right there.
Grubs. Hey, firstly, there's nothing for you to do in this episode here, okay? You run in like that, all that does, brings everyone else in, and trust me, we can send bin for that. We can send bin for that.
Penalty. Yeah, penalty then.
A penalty to Melbourne against you, Sam, because you've gone on with the tackle, post the tackle. Let's get it out.
well, he might have been hard done by just before half-time, but that's 3 penalties that Sam Cassiano's given away in about 5, 6, 7 minutes now. Earned one back. They still trail that penalty count by 4, and it will give Melbourne the chance they were looking for.
Here's Vanuka.
Cronk had the ball anyway. It's going to be a Melbourne ball anyway.
Sofa Solomona. Let him down Main Street. He'll play it about 15 out from the Bulldogs line. That's a couple of metres as well as Smith heads out to the left edge. Cronk is there, so is Green. Harris coming back underneath it again. The straightness of the defensive line from the Bulldogs makes it almost impossible to break. Harris back at the uprights. Sofa Solomona charging hard, lost the ball in the tackle. It touched the Bulldog, and they'll be pumped about that.
Clock is on. You right to take this one, Matty?
Yeah, mate.
You mentioned the straight line, and it's been impressive. Tony Williams just over the top. His shoulder. He just leant into the tackle, making contact with the ball and forcing it free. Melbourne still with some tackles inside the 10.
You're rugby union at the moment.
Okay,
the attack of Melbourne, one-directional, hasn't it? The chances they've had in the Bulldogs 20 has been towards the sideline. It's been pass towards the sideline. No change of direction for the most part.
It reminds me a lot of the Bulldogs attack last week against the Raiders, where they just passed the ball a long way from the defensive line and gave their men on the edges really no opportunity. They're just numbering up well, the Dogs, but not much happening on the inside for the Melbourne Storm.
Williams playing it, Leisha going to Clemmer. We'll take it back into Melbourne territory. Still no change to our half-time scoreline. 7 minutes of the second period as Reynolds goes to Jackson. Playing one there with Green, popped the ball. Holland did well to hang on to it. And he'll play it about 27 away on the last. Reynolds waiting at first receiver. Putting a kick in the first half. It was a super kick as well for Perrott to score. This one, no real pressure on Munster, who sees some space. He disappeared quickly as Leisha and Clemmer were there to stop him, but they let him out the easy way after they had him pinned inside his own 10, and then time up there coming in put Glasby under all sorts of pressure.
It was a poor kick and a poor chase from the Dogs, and that allowed Munster to run 30 metres. And it breathes some life into the Melbourne Storm.
Corabenny's run. And there was a quick play the ball for Cameron Smith. Hands it. The play it in just outside the Bulldogs 30. Good meters from their own end here, but it's what happens at the end of it that counts. At the moment, they're struggling for an idea. Cronk comes out to Chambers. Split that gap between Morris and also Mbai. They'll play it 25 metres away. Last play, Cronk under pressure. Just grabbers it. Tonamapia coming through. It's play on. Back to Tonamapia. He has scored. He passed it off a Bulldog back to himself, and he plunged in for a try.
Live decisions try. Yeah, we're back to tackle one. Just make sure there's not a knock-on in the contest here for Melbourne, and I'm okay with the grounding.
With no room to work with, the Melbourne Storm have been able to come up with a piece of magic. They're onside. Tonamapia gets past Curtis Rona and makes a play at the ball. We're just going to make sure that he doesn't get a touch. Jersey's ripped down the middle. Gets past Curtis Rona. Grabs it and then tries to throw it back in. He knows he's got support there.
See the Storm take possession and throw the ball backwards.
It ricochets off the arm of Curtis Rona,
which is then knocked backwards by Bulldogs, which restarts the tackle count.
And then back into the hands of Tonamapia. As long as he takes this cleanly, once he gets it here, and then he's got
Storm
to
regain possession.
Everything looks good so far for the Melbourne Storm and young Tonamapia. On-field referees were confident that he got the ball down, and the fact that he was able to roll over the top of
Camera 8 in the top right shows that the Storm maintain possession and get the ball to the ground. Have a decision going to the board.
That's a great piece of play from Tonamapia. The reflexes, we watched it in slow motion, but that ricochet off Curtis Rona came back at him so quickly, and he was able to drag that in and then fight his way over the top of Hokowati and Rona to score the try. The weight of the kick from Cooper Cronk was perfect. He brought the winger up, he brought Rona up, and just didn't kick it too hard. Too conservative was Curtis Rona. And then Hokowati had all the work to do. Well, and it was, you go back to the kick from Josh Reynolds at this end of the field. It wasn't high enough for his chase to get there. There was no chase. Cameron Munster runs 30 metres in the kick return, and they came to life.
It was unconventional, but it might be just the way they spark things in this second half. They trailed Melbourne at half-time in 5 of their last 8 games right here. They're making a habit of it. Now Cameron Smith from the sideline, a chance to put them in front. They led the game after barely 90 seconds of play. 2 points to 0 off the penalty goal. Trying to hook it back. It will stay out to the left-hand side. Might have been a little bit short as well. We are locked up at 12 apiece. And after they tried and tried through the hands, it's finally a kick that gives them some points, Danny.
Yeah, as much as we've been talking about the key matchups in the middle of the park here tonight, it's the wingers. The wingers have stole the show with some real flashes of brilliance, so it's been really good to watch. I've just been watching Cameron and Cooper. They're starting to really pick the middle forwards off for the Bulldogs, so I think there'll be something to watch there for them.
In response to that, both James Graham and Sam Cassiano, while that conversion attempt was being taken, have come from the field. So Graham playing the first 48, 49 minutes of the game straight. Tolman is back out there now. Lemmer remains in the middle of the field.
Yeah, Greg Eastwood's also out there, just shaking his head after that shot on Dale Finucane. He's back in the line now.
Jesse Bromwich at the line, giving it to Glasby, running towards Jackson, Eastwood, and also Josh Reynolds. Play 5 for Green to the back on the inside. Bromwich will play it there on the last. Go to Green. They'll put the kick in. They'll go down towards Will Hopperani. Cooper Cronk was there flying forward as well. It made it difficult for Hopperani, who made a very good catch. They played about 12 out from his own line, but Melbourne, the meters are coming pretty easily suddenly.
Well, they've upped the tempo from that Cameron Munster kick return. The next set they scored a try, and that was a terrific set off the back of the young Tonomapia effort. And the Dogs need to match it.
Here's Clemmer trying to do exactly that, still going. Almost back to the halfway line when he plays it here for Leisha. Simon heads out towards that right-hand side. They'll play it there. Well, he barely just got to play the ball in as Reynolds finds him by. He gets the kick in. Smith chasing out hard. And Munster watches it go dead, and the 7-tackle set won't help the Bulldogs.
Now, I'm pretty sure this is their first 1-2, and it's off the back of the paw. Josh Reynolds kick a couple of sets ago. So both times now, the last 2 times they've been down this end of the field, they haven't been able to get a result on their last play.
Chambers to play it. Here's Smith. Mr. Proctor. Good carry right there from Proctor to take it back into Bulldogs territory. And the finish we have coming up here over the final 28 minutes on Toronto Monday Night Football as Green shows it. Takes them on. Jackson stopping him at the 30. Now Kenny Bromwich, fresh man on the field, getting a chance. He's at the 20. Last play. Cronk running towards the corner. Giving it for Corabetti. A chance to fly up against Perrott once again. He missed it cleanly. And it should be a changeover, will it, for the Bulldogs at their own 10.
Yeah, just look where they've carted the ball to, though. The Melbourne Storm. I know it was a 7-tackle set. Corabetti had come in probably a metre too far infield to really have a crack at that footy. They got themselves down in an attacking position. And while the Dogs were good at bringing the ball off their own line in the first half, the Storm, there's no doubt there's more energy about their play now. They look like the old Melbourne Storm.
At times there's no question about it. They can still make it sing when they need to. It's the beginning of the big week for the Bulldogs. Tomorrow morning they fly to Wellington to prepare in New Zealand. Clash against the Warriors at Westpac Stadium in Wellington next Saturday night. We'll see that as part of Super Saturday here on Fox Sports. And that will be a big game, especially for the Warriors, won't it? They need something in a hurry. Reynolds at the halfway line to play in here for Leisha. Looks behind him. The thing didn't pan out the way he was intending on that right-hand side. Here's an awkward bounce. Munster, though, ends up with it as Morris was coming quickly. He's hard to get the ground, Munster. And then Tolman slapping in his arm. They'll play it eventually the fullback. And now Corabetti wrapping to the right-hand side, running towards him by, giving it to Tonomapia. Passes are sticking for the Storm, and they bring it back here. 10 short of the halfway line. Chambers set upon by and by under pressure. Tonomapia gives it to Munster. To settle things down away from the forwards to get sorted behind the play the ball. They're there now as Smith goes to Kenny Bromwich. Almost the mini Benji Marshall step he puts on as he goes towards the line. Jesse going hard. Leisha gives it to Cameron Smith, puts a step on. Tolman's there to stop him. He passed the green. They're only 3 metres out. What a run. Smith from dummy half runs into a dead end. He finds Finucane. Here's Cronk. Proctor. Chambers on his outside. 2-on-2. Chambers grabbers. More pressure on the Bulldogs. Hopperway had to take it out.
Oh, another great set from the Melbourne Storm. And it all started back the other side of halfway with Cameron Munster and the 2 wingers. Danny Badira said the wingers have been stars. And then that from Jesse Bromwich. Over the top of Michael Leisha. He gets that big arm free. Cameron Smith plays on, and then another very well-weighted kick from Will Chambers. He really has been channeling Jamie Lyon with those short kicks tonight. They look slick at the moment, the Melbourne Storm.
The Bulldogs only just getting the dropout away in time on the dropout clock. And by supplied it. Here's Bromwich bringing it back. Run by his bigger brother, Jesse. Here he is now. Just outside the 20. Playing it for Smith. There's a look about Melbourne here as Croc goes to Proctor. Out the back. Munster comes to Tonopea. The pass. Well, it was the Slater run, but it wasn't a Slater pass, was it?
No, it looked a little bit bunched, didn't it? And Cameron Munster, who half got in behind the Canterbury defence. The run around, they've tried to mix things up, and Munster, it was a miracle effort from him. It was going to be the best pass ever if it found young Tonopea.
One-hander around the corner. He was desperate to complete the play. It looked good as well.
Gee, the Dogs needed something to stem this tide. Brown on the field. Some fresh legs to try and work their way out of this end.
Eastwood played almost back at the 30. Here's Reynolds. Jensen, Holland on his outside. Hasn't had too many chances with the ball, Kerrod Holland, but he, along with Perrott, have been terrific. Right edge defensively. By at first receiver. Wanting Brown to take one more. You can see him pointing, saying they're going to him. He's going to take it. Just one more for me. We'll kick it here on the last. Now Alicia ignores the halfback, goes to Reynolds, and he'll put it up. Not a deep one once again. Munster flying through was taken, it looked like, before he got back to the ground there by Kerrod Holland. It wasn't much of a bump, but could have easily been a penalty for Melbourne as Corabetti works it back towards the halfway line.
And it's Munster and it's Corabetti and it's young Tonopea that are just getting these Melbourne Storm sets off to great starts. Very quickly back into Bulldog territory.
Hampton almost losing it before he played that ball. Harris, good hands there from Finucane. Comes away to Proctor. He shows it. Tries to split the get there between Mbai and also Morris. He's at the 20. Here's Croc. Across to Finucane. He keeps it going from sideline to sideline now. Green goes over the top. Corabetti. The Bulldogs slide. Holland is there. So is Reynolds. And they're just 10 metres out. Last play. Smith for Green. They'll kick it towards the corner. It's a flat one. Rona up above them. He's hard to beat in that situation. That's a big catch for the Bulldogs. Morris brings it back for the 20-metre restart. He goes quickly to Sam Perrott, and that's great work by the back three of the Bulldogs.
They've defended well, haven't they, the Dogs? They've come up with some huge defensive plays. That was a terrific kick from Blake Green. Exactly where you want it, on the try line. Possibly a little bit too low, which meant that young Tonopea was always battling to get to the contest first. But Rona's done a great job. They've come up with some big ones, haven't they, when required. Still 12 all. The Melbourne Storm have been all over them for the last 10 minutes.
Which probably means the Bulldogs will score sometime here in this set of 6. It's the way things go. Hopewadi to play it. Williams getting to dummy half. Eastwood, flat ball for Brown. Reynolds back on the inside for Jackson. Good stop in the middle by Finucane. Brown cleans up the crumbs. Proctor gets to him. They'll keep it going. Hopewadi fending away. Linking up on the outside. Reynolds gives it to Holland. He'll get there. They soaked up the pressure at the other end, and then the offloads killed them.
Josh Reynolds played that perfectly because He was thinking about heading across the field on an angled run towards that corner post, but he realised that he had a numbers advantage on his outside and played squared them up, and even though they jammed in, just watch Reynolds after the offload from Jackson, keeps it alive beautifully. This is a good pass here from Brown, and then Hopewadi dances across the field, across the faces of some defenders, and Reynolds runs direct. Instead of going on that angled run, which he loves, he squared them up and just created enough room for Kerrod Holland to get across the line. Good stuff, Josh Reynolds.
0 tackle set off the kick from Green, taken by Rona. They work it down the field. They just kept it alive. It was magic to watch as the passes just kept on coming, and Hopewadi's work, defend and link up with the numbers on that right-hand side. And as you said, the directness of the run by Josh Reynolds gave Holland a chance. He didn't waste it. And they're back in front, 16-12. Here is the sharpshooter.
Yeah, how well has he struck them? And he had some work to do to get that ball down too. But Reynolds' natural instinct to head across field, he summed things up very quickly with the right play there and just created enough space for the man. It's about to put them 6 in front.
The former Singleton Greyhound strikes it beautifully again. Right over the black dot, 18 points to 12. It's uncanny, Danny, how often that happens. Teams under pressure get a chance and score at the other end.
Yeah, exactly was. Where do you get your confidence from? It's from your goal line D. If you can absorb all that pressure and go down and score, you know you're in a good team and you know you're coaching a good team. So that's the Dogs of old.
There's watching on calmly for the moment. Headphones are off. That's always a good sign. Plenty of time for the Storm to hit back, coming forward. Moses and by. It's like he was sliding into second base at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, he almost went too far. The ball ended up travelling just over his shoulder, so remarkably well to pull that one in. That would have been a real momentum stopper.
Wouldn't it? Here's Jackson to play it at the 40. Reynolds for Eastwood. Good run. And going backwards, Melbourne Storm defensive line right there. Reynolds will keep it going that way. Shows it. Goes himself. They picked up 35 metres in 2 plays right there. Chance to put in an attacking kick at the end of this set. And By will just grub it towards the corner. Wants to take it out of play, in fact. And they'll make Melbourne work it away from a scrum at their own end.
Well, very similar to the first half where the Melbourne Storm had all the field position. I mean all the field position. Not a tackle inside the Melbourne Storm did the Dogs have in the opening 15 minutes, yet they got 2 sets, a result through a forced line dropout, and then they score a try. In this half, they might have given up a try, but gee, they've soaked up some pressure. And now all of a sudden the Dogs look good again. They don't need much of a sniff.
Melbourne have had 26 tackles inside the Bulldogs 20. Canterbury just 11 the other end, but lead at 3 tries to 2. Felice Kafusi, back end of the game, getting a chance off the bench to provide some spark in the middle of the field to keep it going for Melbourne. Here's Kenny Bromwich. One more play here as Smith looks over his shoulder, finds Cooper Croc. Will try and spiral a kick downfield. Goes to Hopewadi. Comes to the line, then fires a pass to Curtis Rona. He runs towards Munster and also Kafusi. They've got it there already, outside their 30. Hopewadi grabbed by the marker for Felice Kafusi. Josh Morris comes in for a run. The Bulldogs' completion rate still impressive on a greasy surface. 24 out of 29 sets they've completed. Storm not too shabby themselves at 26 out of 33 as Williams plays it. Felicia goes Goes to Brown. Standing in the tackle again. This time they'll wrap him up, though. Jordan McLean out there with Jesse Bromwich. Last play. And Mbye keeps it going. A forward pass from Mbye to Morris. Rona puts a kick in. It's play on. Still looks up. Sees Leisha, Reynolds. They've got him hemmed in with Tolman. They'll work it again from deep inside their own 20.
Gee, they were fortunate to get a kick on the end of that. No room down this short side. And Josh Morris, well marked, was able to get the ball to Curtis Rona, who has shown on a number of occasions that he's capable of getting a kick away under pressure.
There is McLean. Looking it up towards the 40. Smith. Players in motion on the right-hand side. Cronk, the pass to Chambers, well handled. It was fractionally behind him. Taken, though, by Morris. International centres coming together right there. Smith for Cronk, who'll put it up to get a floater. Hopewadi, though, handles it pretty nicely. They'll play it 15 out from their own line. If they win this game, the Bulldogs, with their goal line defence, they'll look back on, as Danny mentioned, gain so much confidence out of it. It's easily the best goal line defence in the competition. They only concede before this game one try for every 32 tackles that opponents have inside their 20.
Yeah, look, and sometimes good goal line defence doesn't have much attack coming at it, but that period that they defended their line, Melbourne looked as slick with the ball as they have all year.
Reynolds' kick was a touch by Munster. He was coming across to play in it because Reynolds' kick was from inside the 40.
Yes.
And Munster, until it took an off break, thought it was going to cross the sideline inside the 20. But as you heard, as the rain comes down here at Amy Park, it wasn't touched by the fullback.
Well, he did well. He thought he might have to play at it with it rolling. And how close did it go to breaking the sideline past the 20? He did his best to play at that ball. Don't worry about letting it go.
Yeah.
He just missed it.
Luckily for him and the Melbourne Storm.
Yeah, that's right, mate.
As you can see, a bit of light drizzle coming down here in Melbourne. Help the home side's cause as they chase points. They were down 14-6 against the Knights late in the game last week, got themselves out of it. Might be a different prospect here tonight, though, against the Bulldogs. Kenny Bromwich bringing it back to the halfway line. Smith for Green. Spread to the right-hand side. Cronk with Kafusi heading through the line as the decoy. He just had to stop on the run, otherwise there's going to be an obstruction. Now Jesse Bromwich again, almost getting away from Tim Brown. Giving them some momentum here as Smith goes to Green. They'll chip it towards the corner. Hopewadi is there, makes another good catch. His work in the fullback role this season so far has been outstanding. Now it's play on. Here's Perrott. The Storm need to fire up and try and force a mistake if they can here. Alicia trying to get away from Kafusi to get to dummy half. Tolman stepping off the left foot, looking for a quick play. The ball, they'll get one, and Mbye comes out to Williams. Runs towards Cronk. He's well the halfback with the help of Kafusi. 4 plays gone. Graham out there again now. This stint will see him out tonight. He'll try and steer the side home. Mbye, kick. Pick out Tonamapia on the full. He quickly goes to Munster. Corabetti's also back there. He'll get a chance as well. Hampton once again drops back. 4 of them across the field trying to mix it up and spread the ball. And it worked again. They're outside the 30 on play 1.
Yeah, got them a valuable 15 metres. Just shuffled the Dogs' defence around.
A bit of a limp as he makes his way back to the bench, but his work is done tonight. They're under pressure here. What an awful play.
Yep. Everyone up. No, he's down.
It unravelled from dummy half. Corabetti had no chance.
Well, it should never have gone back to Corabetti down that short side. Josh Reynolds, a good effort in defence. Cameron Smith, there was a mix-up there around the ruck. It was never meant to find the hands of Corabetti, who had already made a couple of runs in the set. It's a big ask to throw it to him for a third, on a third occasion. Reynolds just continued to hunt the ball, though. He was able to get Corabetti across the sideline.
Shot clock off.
That was shades of what we saw from Melbourne against Cronulla a couple of weeks ago on Monday Night Football.
Shot clock off.
And they're at the old Shark Park.
Well, that's as bad as they've looked with the footy this year against the Sharks.
No, not until the hookers have got it and the ball's in. Tim, just put it in. Let's go. I know, I've told him. Let's just put it in, Josh.
Well, there's 8.5 minutes left. That could be a costly. That could be a costly error, that one.
Is it too early for a field goal? So we'll find out in a few tackles' time. They're 45 metres out from the Storm line. Jackson just working it forward. Some 8 minutes remaining. 7-point lead would be handy. Here's Mbai. Goes to Williams. This is play number 4. Maybe one more back towards the middle to give them the option should they want it. Mbai will go that way. Graham will keep it going. Clemmer, they'll put it through the hands, in fact. Reynolds shows it, tries to get to the outside, gives it to Holland. He'll straighten. They're not thinking 1 point now. Reynolds at dummy half. Goes to Brown. Out the back. Leisha was there. Hopewani, they lost their way badly. Comes back to Rona. He tries to clean it up. And then Morris just toes it forward. They got lucky they actually got a kick in.
Oh, that's a couple of times now down this side where they've gone to the left on play 5, and it's either been Morris or Rona that's had to kick the ball. The pass to Leisha was the one that was misdirected. Mbai was in front of Leisha, and the ball should have gone to the halfback.
Kafusi playing it. Smith might rue the fact they didn't set up for the 1-pointer. Munster over the top. Here's a chance. Hampton gives it to Corabetti. Parrott was there. Good tackle and cover by Josh Jackson. They're just outside the 20. Back to the middle they come. Jesse Bromwich. What a handful he's been. Smith, the link man. Goes back to a sofa. Solomona! Only a metre out when he's taken down. Graham around the legs desperately. Smith for Cronk. Out the back. And Mbai trying to hang on to him. They'll take him down. That'll be the changeover.
Well, that's as desperate as they've been, the Bulldogs. After a nice play down that left side, the ball from Cameron Munster was magic. It was an over-the-shoulder pass that found its mark, and then a rampaging Asofa Solomona looked like he was going to drag 3 of them across the line. Desperate stuff, and good involvement there from Tim Brown. And then Cooper Cronk down the short side against his opposite number, Moses Mbai, who matched him for strength.
Warren, an update on Aiden Tomlin. We believe it's a cork to his lower shin. Obviously, he won't be back.
Thanks for that, Andy. At the moment, they're trying to hang on. They lead by 6. Example again in that last set of their goal line defence. It's a remarkable record. 32 tackles on average to concede a try on their own line. Graham playing it here, 12 short of the halfway line. Last play. Reynolds just punching it through the line. It'll go down to young Tonomapia. The man who scored that try against the Dragons here 2 seasons ago. After the siren. It was the play the ball after the siren.
A quick pass there from Ben Hampton to pick up his winger, Corabetti. Gee, they've gone for some runs. 31 between the 2 wingers, the Melbourne Storm wingers tonight. An enormous workload.
Big metres for them from their own end. Here's Green out the back. Cronk. He goes to Chambers. Runner, though. Playing a long way before the line again right there, and made it an easy tackle for Curtis Rona. Cronk. It's a Tohu Harris.
Well, they've just identified so well who's going to receive the pass. The edge defenders of the Dogs.
Bit of result here. Cameron Smith grubbering. Hopewadi will clean it up. They'll wrap him up inside his own 10.
There's no doubt they're running out of chances. Was inside the final 5 minutes now. Cameron Smith forced to put in a defensive kick, really.
They may only have 2 possessions, maybe 3 at most, depending on the flow from this point on. Cassiano is back. One last crack at them. Reynolds goes to Jackson. Owen will get a chance. Cut down a good tackle there by Corabetti. 4 plays gone at their own 30. Clemmer working it forward as the Bulldogs search for win number 4. Be a win that would push them into the top 4 after 6 rounds. Leisha comes back to Mbai. To kick it in between Munster and Tonomapia.
It's a beauty.
The best one of the second half. Found the space between the fullback and the winger, and as a result, Munster is stopped there just outside his own 20. 3.5 remaining. It might be this set, maybe one more.
A good start to this set defensively from the Dogs. They drive Chambers back, slow play the ball.
Kafusi. There's bump it forward. They're set for a long shift on this left-hand side. Cronk is there. Goes a long way before the line, though. Green kicks for Corabetti, who had a golden chance. He was coming back on the angle and would have been something to stop had he made that catch.
It's worked plenty of times for them. The crossfield kick, Blake Green was deep. Corabetti was onside and just changed his angle to get on the inside of Sam Perrott before he caught the ball. That was enough to see the ball go to ground.
Game clock off.
I don't think Perrott stops him if he gets the ball in his hands.
I know, we're telling you. Let's go, bend your backs. Shot clock off.
This will be interesting here. 2.5 minutes remaining in the game. Good field position to start the set of 6. You can come down and try and get the 1 point to put it to bed, but if you miss, you risk the chance of giving them a 0 tackle from their own 20.
Yeah, I don't think that's the play. I think the play is into the corner and defend like you just did then.
Graham set upon pretty quickly by Jordan McLean. 2 minutes left on Toyota Monday Night Football. The Dogs by 6. Looking for a 6th straight win against the Melbourne Storm. What a record it is as Leisha tries to get away from McLean. Stepping, found some space. A desperate effort stops him by Harris. Quick play the ball. Hopewadi out of dummy half. On the last, they'll run it. And they'll make Melbourne work it off their own line.
Okay, wait, boys, wait.
Well, the decision to run it, Josh Reynolds was in place to put a kick in, but Hopewadi just pushed his way into to receive the football, and they're going to try and do what they've done for most of the night, and that's defend from this end.
The Cronk pass was touched as it came to Chambers. Didn't cost the Bulldogs too many metres, though. 0 tackle right there. This will be number 1. And Kafusi will play it. Just over a minute remaining. They're set again on that left-hand side. First man play for Asofa Solomona. Good stop, though, by Jackson and also Clemmer. Got through some defensive work tonight. Jackson 43 tackles now. Smith's pass goes to ground. Chambers eventually picks it up. He crosses the halfway line before he's stopped there by Morrison and Mbai. They've got 3 plays remaining. 3 more chances only to try and get to Golden Point. Green, Asofa Solomona showing it, fending away from Jackson. They'll take him down. Munster runs to dummy half. Cronk at first receiver. Smith floating in the middle, waiting for the next play. Kenny Bromwich will play it here. It's come down to this. They need to score off the back of this. Smith wanted a penalty, didn't get one. Bromwich for Cronk, who puts it up. Not a great kick. Tonomapia taps it backwards. Clemmer is there. He wraps it up for the Bulldogs, and they'll get the chocolates here tonight. What a win. In the second half, they're under so much pressure inside their own 20. Melbourne couldn't crack them when they needed to, and the Dogs threw a try to Kieran Holland. His first try in the NRL proves to be the difference at full time. His kicking was sensational once again, and the Dogs improved their record to 4 wins and 2 losses. They fly off to Wellington tomorrow for a clash against the Warriors next Saturday. We'll next see Melbourne in action on Sunday afternoon when they meet the Tigers at Leichhardt. Their record also goes to 4-2 after 6 rounds. What a way to end it. Here tonight at Amy Park, the Bulldogs by 6. Right now it's time to go to the Clive Churchill studio. It's time for Monday Night with Matty Johns.